After the death of the gods, anger wine was poured into the world. At the moment when the red moon appeared, most people went crazy. The world was in chaos. Many people died. A virus called spiritual pollution spread rapidly, constantly contaminating all living beings and causing mutations. Humanity was able to survive only under the protection of the wall. The male protagonist Xin0, a metahuman, is the only miracle, contaminated but not mutated. He sealed away his painful memories. After that, he grew up like an ordinary person. There are 3 family members at home that others cannot see. During battles, Xin can borrow power from these family members. Dad is the embodiment of fear. He is irritable, quick-tempered, and loves to fight. Mom, who is kind and approachable, is a destiny observer. She has a pair of scissors that can cut the logic chain. Younger sister 17 is a spiritual entity created by schizophrenia. Spider metahuman likes toys. He has a habit of turning humans into toys. Since the arrival of the red moon, Xin has been in this city of suspicion and alienation, living a 9-to-5 life. Luckily, he still has a lamp called family to light up his life. Dad enjoys cooking delicious food at home. Every day, there seems to be an endless amount of ingredients that cannot be chopped up. Mom is on the phone by the window with a neighbor because someone criticized her clothes as being not good looking. The little sister obediently sits on the sofa watching cartoons. She keeps mentioning her brother. Why hasn't he come back so late today? Just off work, Xin bought the toy that her little sister likes the most and brought it home. 17 was very happy when she saw the teddy bear toy. Jumping up happily, she hugged the teddy bear in her arms. Mom hung up the phone at this moment. Ask Xin to play with her sister first. She had a little misunderstanding with the neighbor on the phone. She needs to go apologize to her. Then she picked up a pair of scissors and walked towards the neighbor's house. Shortly after, the newly bought teddy bear was torn open by the sister. She then roughly sewed it back together with coarse stitches. At the dining table, the sister gleefully raised it up high. Looking at this crooked little bear, the sister liked it even more than before. At this moment, Dad walked out of the kitchen with a bottle of wine, grumbling as he went. Suddenly, there was a loud police siren outside. Dad became irritated as soon as he heard it. He started yelling loudly down the stairs. The little sister, scared, clung to Xion's clothes. Just then, the mother, who went to apologize to the neighbors, happened to return. She was covered in a lot of blood again. Mom spoke up, telling Dad not to speak nonsense every day. Be careful not to scare the children. Fucking children, damn it. Everyone should die. You should die too. Dad looked at Mom angrily. Yes, everyone should die in your eyes. Only you shouldn't die. Because other people are doing better than you. Only you, like maggots in the sewer, are barely scraping by. But do you know? Even if they all died, you wouldn't. I was interrupted by an angry slap from my father before I could finish speaking. It seemed to have hit on something he feared the most. My mother, however, showed no fear. You incompetent raging waste. After hearing this sentence, Dad couldn't hold back anymore. His body began to grow. Dare you say I'm useless? I will slaughter you. A sudden angry punch exploded out. Seeing this scene, the younger sister trembled and curled up in the corner of the wall. But the next second, her mouth slowly curved into a smile. Fun, fun, so much fun. Excited, she instantly tore the teddy bear in her hand into 2 halves. Laughing uncontrollably, she quickly climbed up the wall. It's just too much fun. Xion sat on the side with a bowl of rice, seemingly accustomed to such chaos. Slowly eating the rice in the bowl. He thought that in this world tainted by the red moon, having a complete family is already very fortunate. However, at this moment, a mysterious organization is monitoring his every move. This is an ordinary and warm home. Mom had a little argument with Dad, but Dad interrupted it with a slap. Mom, however, was not the least bit afraid. She stood up and called him an incompetent, furious waste. Upon hearing these words, Dad's anger was instantly ignited. His body slowly grew larger. An angry punch suddenly burst out. Just 1 second ago, my sister still looked scared. The next second, she inexplicably became excited. It's so fun, really fun. Laughing wildly while shaking the chandelier. It's just too much fun. Brother Exion sat quietly on one side eating. He had become accustomed to the noisy family gatherings. However, someone was now monitoring his every move, seeing that the room clearly only had Exion alone. Actions resembling those made by multiple individuals seemed to be happening simultaneously. Data was suddenly detected at this moment. The 13th individual's psychic power, Observer, has manifested. A mysterious figure behind asked the short-haired girl, "Does she have the potential to be recruited? How big is the potential threat? What specific powers does he have?" The girl still can't figure out Exion. He doesn't seem like other mentally ill people. In the early stages, strong abnormal forms of mutation would have been evident. He looks normal. He can go to work normally every day. He can even handle work well. But occasionally there are mental disorders. It sounds like he has great potential and can be guided well. Have you tried letting a dream architect enter his dreams for assessment? The girl deeply exhaled a puff of smoke. But after the dream architect entered his dream, he never came out again. The next day, Exion arrived at the company as usual for work. Being enthusiastic, he was busy teaching the new employee how to do things. At this moment, Chief suddenly asked him to go to the office. Chief didn't have any extra words. He asked Exion to help him deliver this document to the cafe on the corner. Exion picked up the document on the table. Shouldn't it be someone from the administrative or miscellaneous department to deliver the document? How did they find me? Vaguely feeling that Chief is acting a bit strange today. At this moment, Exion noticed that there was a woman sitting on the sofa in the office, giving him a strange feeling. The girl suddenly made eye contact with him, which startled Exion. He quickly agreed to leave under the pretense of delivering documents. After Exion left, the chief smiled at the girl and offered his attentions. "Madam Chun, the matter you mentioned has been taken care of. The project you just discussed with me." It was not finished yet, but the girl interrupted directly. "Don't worry, this project will not bother you." She took off her sunglasses and slowly stood up. Chief froze for a moment. He thought he misheard. The girl suddenly leaned on the table, her eyes fixed on Chief. "Don't remember that I've been here, and don't remember assigning him anything." The girl's pupils seemed to be spinning, faintly turning red. Chief instantly fell into confusion. The words the girl just spoke kept repeating in his mind. The woman then put on sunglasses and walked away. Chief woke up and had already forgotten about the incident. It was as if it had never happened. The mysterious organization tested Exion's power. Asked the chief of the company to have him pick up a document. Go to the cafe on the corner. In the blink of an eye, Exion arrived at the Circular City high-speed railway station. At this time, the younger sister quietly climbed over the top of the carriage, still holding the patched-up teddy bear in her arms. The hanged man appeared in front of Exion. The body kept swaying, playing on the swing. Passengers in the carriage all feel the sway. Fortunately, the train is moving fast. The swaying noise inside the carriage is drowned out. "Brother, don't you want to play together? It's really fun. I can't watch you outside, let alone talk to you. I will be considered crazy." "No fun." 17 playfully stuck out their tongue at their brother, then leaned in close to Exion's ear. "Let him be careful, as there might be some issues with the place he is going this time." After saying that, he climbed away while laughing uncontrollably. Passed by a fat man who had fallen asleep. He mischievously pinched him before moving on. After getting off the bus, Exion realized that the place was already close to the wall. Arrived at the corner coffee shop, but can't see half a person around. Exion also doesn't know why he is standing here. There is a sense of oppression. Xion still doesn't know he is being watched. A tall building in the distance. The reconnaissance team is reporting to their superiors. Number 13, the target, has been entered by observer. Around the tall building, fully armed soldiers are hidden in the dark. At this moment, a person is holding a file from the cafe on the street corner. All of this is arranged by the short-haired woman in front of us. The purpose is to test Xion's potential and specific power. The coffee shop that Xion is going to has been confirmed as a level 1 spiritual pollution area. People who have entered the coffee shop will die within 3 to 5 days. The cause of death is often suicide. She puts down the documents in her hand and asks the person next to her, "Is the support ready for deployment?" "Report, madam." The support team member, the doll, is currently ready. It can be deployed at any time. At this moment, a girl in a western dress, exquisitely like a puppet, is sitting by the window. It is the doll, the team member preparing for support. Xion has already entered the cafe. Surprisingly, it's deserted outside, but packed inside. Arrived at the counter, Xion handed the documents to a waiter. The waiter didn't say anything. He smiled and poured a cup of coffee for Xion to drink. Xion was just about to refuse, but he was inexplicably drawn in by the fragrance emanating from the coffee. The flavor was completely different from the cheap coffee he usually drank at the office. Just as he picked up the coffee intending to finish it before leaving, a faint sound came to his ears. He woke up suddenly. When he looked up at the waiter again, clearly saw a large and ugly tentacle protruding behind him. The tentacle only slowly extended in front of Xion. The head of the tentacle slowly split open. A crimson substance dropped into the coffee in Xion's hand. Xion looked down. The substance in the cup suddenly opened its eyes, gazing at itself. The coffee in hand instantly became more aromatic, exuding an astonishingly seductive charm. People who enter this coffee shop will die within 3 days. It turns out that the coffee shop has been contaminated by a psychic virus. Xion looks at the eyes staring back at him from the cup. Fortunately, he regained his senses in time. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. The waiter on the side smiled even more warmly, urging Xion to try it quickly. Looking at these hideous tentacles, Xion forced himself to stay calm. He must not let him know that I can see these things. "No need, thank you for your hospitality," he politely declined. He then turned and walked towards the exit. His heart couldn't help but beat rapidly. When he reached the gate, he stopped. Curiously, he turned back to take another look. Suddenly, he found that the whole store had fallen silent. Everyone stared at him, as if frozen in place. Xion immediately bolted without hesitation. Witnessing this scene, all the observers on the building in the distance were stunned. They couldn't believe he left just like that. Normally, a potential spirit mutant with unlimited potential would definitely trigger a violent conflict there. They had prepared 3 emergency plans in advance. But this particular situation was not anticipated. The woman with short hair immediately ordered to continue the testing. Make the 4th response plan right away. Xion, who had been running all the way, arrived at the subway station. The deserted subway station. There was only one elderly security guard dozing off. Xion felt as if he had escaped a disaster. Finally, he left there, thinking back to what he had just seen at the cafe. Why was it so eerie? It turned out 17 had known all along. That's why he had warned him on the high-speed train. Thinking about this, Xion decided to ask his family when he got back at night. They should know something. Just then, the subway station, which had been empty moments ago, now had people coming in one after another. More and more people were slowly approaching Xion's position. Xion then realized that something was wrong. He took a closer look and confirmed that these were the people from the cafe. How did they follow him here? Taking a closer look, behind the crowd appeared a familiar figure. It was the waiter from the cafe, still wearing a smile on his face. He presented the cup of coffee that Xion hadn't finished drinking just now. Slowly he said, "You haven't finished your coffee." Exion wanted to turn around and run away, but their way was blocked by them. The crowd closed in on him step by step. The waiter kept urging Exion to drink quickly. Otherwise, it would get cold. Exion quickly said he had no money. "Can't afford it." "Can't afford it? It's okay, I'll treat you." The eye in the coffee cup suddenly bounced up on its own and flew towards Exion's mouth. When trying to turn around and escape, they were firmly held down by the people beside them. A mysterious organization is monitoring this scene through surveillance screens. What's going on? He looks no different from an ordinary person. On the side, personnel are requesting instructions on whether to provide support. Shall we intervene? End this round of surveillance. The woman with short hair glanced at the doll next to her. Agreed to provide support. The doll slowly picked up the umbrella next to her upon receiving the order for support. Just then, there was a sudden intense fluctuation in the spiritual device data. At this moment, Exion's mouth was forcibly opened by someone. At a critical moment, a burst of laughter came from beside. Turning around, Exion saw his sister hanging on the signboard. Exion frantically called out, 17, save me! And saw that the eye was getting closer to the mouth. Exion felt despair descending upon him. At the critical moment, a cold little hand grabbed Exion's hand. In the blink of an eye, Exion began to undergo a transformation. He opened his bright crimson eyes. His moment of hunting has arrived. Activate. Having a broke-on little sister is quite an experience. The mentally deranged person chased Exion for 10 blocks, trying to forcibly invite him for coffee. Just before Exion was about to be contaminated, 17 lent her power to Exion. Exion's eyes instantly turned crimson. Brother is going to buy me the most fun toy. That's settled then. In an instant, Exion displayed bizarre movements, broke free from control, and crashed into the crowd. My sister became unusually excited and exclaimed, "So much fun! So much fun! Brother, let's go faster!" Exion's body suddenly accelerated, moving so fast that it was almost impossible to see clearly. Precise control over his body's power. This is Spider. A mysterious organization witnessed this scene through surveillance. He opened his mouth in surprise. The instruments are still detecting. The speed is estimated to be above 50%. Look at this data. The mysterious organization is both surprised and delighted. Isn't this initial potential catching up with the gecko in the organization? Not good. At this point, the instrument registered a severe fluctuation. The coffee server looked at Exion's agile figure and couldn't help but praise the fast speed. The smile on the face became even more sinister. You can't escape. Suddenly, a dense mass of tentacles erupted behind them. With a loud bang, the tentacles swiftly stabbed towards Exion. Let those tentacles be as fast and terrifying as they may. Still dodged Exion's physics-defying posture. In just a few seconds, he arrived at the exit. Surveillance has already seen Exion running out. The woman with short hair breathed a sigh of relief. It's over. Turning to look at the neighboring the doll, ordered to wrap things up. However, at this moment, a person in front of the screen looked surprised. Wait! Look at this. It seems not quite right. The people in the office all looked surprised at the scene before them. Exion, who should have been escaping from the subway station, did not leave directly. Instead, he hung upside down on the ceiling and beckoned to the approaching mutants. This appearance seemed very much like a provocation. The situation has already exceeded the expectations of the mysterious organization. In this world, there are only a few who can trap spider metahumans. They can't understand why Exion, when facing those monsters, didn't run away immediately but instead turned around to provoke them? The woman with short hair vaguely noticed that this 13th observer named Exion is not ordinary. In fact, Exion's instinct is to escape, but his younger sister forcefully held him back. Brother, why are you so scared? His younger sister smiled as she gestured to the waiter for fresh food with her finger. Clearly, he should be the one who is afraid. The waiter saw that Exaion did not run away, but instead turned around in a provocative manner. He also smiled. The smile gradually distorted. In an instant, his body slowly tore apart, turned into thick, muscular tentacles. Each tentacle suddenly opened a big mouth, revealing sharp fangs. The sister became even more excited when she saw it. "Brother, look at how cute they are. I want to go play with them." The sister pulled Exaion and swiftly rushed straight towards the monster. At this moment, the instrument shows that the mental power fluctuation has reached its limit. Observers are shouting softly. A level 1 psychic monster has appeared. She turned around and asked urgently, "Madam, do we need to go support him?" The woman with short hair hesitated to make a decision. Logically speaking, Spider, as a mutant, would be completely unable to deal with this spiritual monster without formal weapons. But he actually rushed towards the monster without any hesitation, under the fierce and dangerous attack of the waiter. Every strike was easily avoided by Exaion. He rushed up to the waiter, grabbed his arm, and swiftly twisted it. The next second, the juice burst, and his arm was torn off abruptly. The waiter instantly let out a scream of agony. Watching Exaion holding the arm, the sister laughed hysterically. Excitedly, she said, "It's been removed." At the same time, the surveillance camera at the subway station was completely destroyed by the invisible psychic power. The display screen's video signal disappeared in an instant. This left them without live intelligence. The woman with short hair gave the order immediately. "Quick! Take action right away." Everyone tensely stood up and moved. But at this moment, Exaion appeared unusually excited. Not a trace of fear, but rather like a cat teasing a mouse, mocking the waiter. "Is it fun to lose a hand? Uh-huh." Before leaving, my sister also pretended to be mysterious. She said someone has their eye on you. Exaion was scared and could only stay alert. He came to the street and prepared to blend into the crowd. Just as he thought everything was safe and he could relax a bit, he had just taken a step forward. Suddenly a woman's voice came from behind, calling his name. It was the short-haired woman. She was wearing a casual suit, exuding a wild temperament. "Come on board, I'll treat you to coffee." More coffee again. Exaion turned back curiously to size up this woman, thinking to himself that at 23 years old, this was the first time a woman had taken the initiative to ask him out. Especially this kind of woman. His gaze involuntarily fixed here. But he still remained vigilant. Seeing that she did not seem hostile, it was also not good to refuse directly. Then quietly said, "Can I have something else instead? I am not interested in coffee right now." The short-haired woman was somewhat surprised by Exaion's calmness. It was unexpected for her to remain so composed when faced with a stranger's invitation. Thinking of Exaion's recent encounter, she opened the car door slowly. "Let's go to the bar." In a blink of an eye, the two arrived at a bar. The girl's name was Jing Chen, who spoke up directly to explain that she had no ill intentions. Then she showed her identification, candidly stating that she arranged what happened to Exaion today. Exaion glanced at the identification in her hand, and only then found out that she was the highest-ranking officer from the Oversight Department of Qingang City. Unable to help it, he looked up at her. I thought to myself, with such a high status, why would she take the initiative to invite me for a drink? It turns out that from delivering the documents today to being attacked by the monster, it was all arranged by her. But suddenly, seeing a bulge at her waist, I knew it was a gun. Can only silently accept what happened today. Asked her calmly why she did this. Jing Chen did not directly answer the question. Let me open a bottle of wine and explain it first. I belong to a department that deals with exceptional transactions. We specialize in managing pollution incidents within the wall. Exaion looked puzzled. She poured a glass of wine and continued. You can understand us as officials. After the Red Moon event, the reorganization of major main cities and satellite cities, dealing with and eliminating the lunatics outside the cities, the resistance from the wilderness riders and the spiritual sect, as well as the construction of the wall, are all being handled by their people. And Jing Chen is mainly dealing with it now. It is the infection event in the main city and the 5 major satellite cities. He handed a file to Xian, just like the situation you encountered in the coffee shop. You can take a look. Xian took the file. On the cover page of the file, he saw the words, Top Secret, printed. Opening it, he saw that it contained many records. The records showed that it was a level 1 psychic monster, capable of infecting any life form it comes into close contact with. It does not possess the power to infect from a distance, and can be eliminated by destroying the parasite of the psychic monster. The original host infected does not possess high intelligence. Jing Chen lit a cigarette. The Red Moon event caused over 70% of the people in this world to become lunatics. Those who survive can only live in the main city and satellite cities protected by the wall. But in reality, even the survivors are not all normal. Many people have undergone psychological mutations. They can have an impact on people or things around them. They call this situation contamination. This contamination will radiate to the surrounding area, affecting other people around them, causing them to exhibit the same symptoms. This type of mental contamination is different from regular pollution. It can cause mental illness in people. Some people may become depressed, commit suicide, lose their rationality, and attack people around them. Some may lose all communication with the outside world. Some may even have strong thoughts of hurting themselves. These people are different from the madmen outside the city. They are inside the city, living among us. They can erupt at any moment, just like those in the coffee shop. In total, there are 37 people who have been contaminated by the monster serving in the coffee shop and have completely lost self-awareness. The ultimate fate awaiting them is death. The mental monsters are just the source of contamination, and those infected by the monsters also pose a risk of spreading the contamination. Xian, the server who was killed in the subway before, is the original body of the contaminating agent. After his death, those deeply infected by him will flee in all directions. If one manages to escape, there is still a possibility that they may develop into a new source of contamination. Then, more people will be contaminated. Fortunately, the first-level psychic monster has low intelligence. The infected people will only act subconsciously, gathering around it. If one infected person is left outside, it can regenerate at any time. Xian stared straight at Jing Chen. Since it's so dangerous, are you still arranging for me to go in? Aren't you afraid I'll also get infected? His eyes unconsciously fixed on Chen Jin again. Jing Chen seemed to know that Xian would ask this question. You won't get infected. Or maybe you've been infected already. They set Xian in not to send him to his death, but for 2 purposes. One is to confirm Xian's power, and the other is to see if he will lose control. If he does lose control, there is a possibility that Xian might be killed on the spot by them when they catch him off guard. Xian looked at the document. His photo was on it along with various information such as his address. After the Red Moon Shining event, some people's mental powers are getting stronger, and you are one of the psychic abnormality. They are analyzing the power possessed by Xian. The first kind is precise control of the body by the mind. Their action team has a person with the codename Gecko. His control over his body has reached 80%, giving him unimaginable strength that surpasses ordinary people. He can dodge bullets with almost perfect control over various mechanisms, pass through openings as small as a teacup, and even climb walls ignoring gravity. Jing Chen finished speaking and looked at Xian. After observing, you also seem to possess a similar power. They call this power spider power. As individuals with mental anomalies, you both are easily able to detect the presence of mental monsters. So, you are very suitable for contamination cleanup work. Faced with Jing Chen's invitation, Xian showed a hint of hesitation. Would you be willing to have such a woman as your boss? Xian was initially unwilling. but they offered too much. Xian had to reluctantly accept the job. Xian, carrying 10,000 yuan, walked joyfully on the street. He kept walking until he reached the Red Moon Bright Elementary School before stopping. He skillfully untied the iron wire wrapped around the door. An old man who was reading a newspaper greeted him when he saw it was Xian. This elementary school only has one classroom, but in reality, it is a small orphanage named Red Moon Bright Elementary School. Xian walked to the window of the classroom and saw a girl in a wheelchair playing games with a dozen children. Xian couldn't help but say, "How childish!" Unexpectedly, this subtle comment was heard by the girl in the wheelchair. When she turned her head to look out the window, there was no one there. The girl thought she might be too sensitive and thought to herself that it probably wasn't him. Watching them having so much fun, Xian, who was hiding on the side, looked relieved. Xian did not disturb them and went to the side of the classroom. He put 10,000 yuan into the rusty mailbox, worried that the girl in the wheelchair inside might not notice it. He picked a wild flower from the side and placed it on the mailbox. Then he quietly left the classroom. By the time he reached the gate, the old man seemed accustomed to it. Just tell her directly. Every time plucking a flower and putting it there. I have worked hard to plant this pond of flowers. You are going to pluck them all. Xian smiled at him, walked out of Red Moon Bright Elementary School, couldn't help but sigh that feeling rich is really nice. He really needs money. Recalling the scene with Jing Chen at the bar an hour ago. Because he helped them deal with a spiritual monster, Jing Chen gave him a reward of $10,000. This made Xian, the model employee with a monthly salary of 1,000, pleasantly surprised. As long as you use your power wisely, you will no longer be short of money. This statement made Xian, who loves money, unable to resist being moved. He loves this sentence so much. There is a sudden feeling of happiness. Jing Chen caught his expression, quietly evaluating his love for money in her heart. The danger index can be reduced by 10%. Although Xian is quite curious about this job, he does indeed want to find a part-time job to do. After pondering for a long time, Xian said that he actually doesn't have power. His power was borrowed from his sister. Not just his sister, but also his parents. We have always lived together. Jing Chen looked surprised. This sentence made her hair stand on end on the spot. When Xian revealed that his power came from a family secret, Jing Chen's hair stood on end. Because Xian's talking about a family member who doesn't exist. At this moment, a voice of urgency also came through the earpiece. Colonel Chen, you must make the final assessment of him. If he really has serious symptoms of dissociative identity disorder, then he may be on the verge of losing control. We not only cannot absorb him, but we must eliminate him as soon as possible to prevent him from causing a major disaster. Don't forget the mysterious death of the dream architect who just entered Xian's dream for some assessment and died inside directly. And completely undetectable any mental residue. This situation has never occurred. Not even Professor Bai can determine the cause of her death. At this moment, Jing Chen's nerves are also tense all over. He even subconsciously placed his hand on the gun. She knows it well. The seemingly harmless young man in front of her hides what kind of madness. But it was difficult to discover. Such a potentially mental deviant. Jing Chen really couldn't bear to eliminate him. She wanted to try again. Just saw her pupils faintly turning red. Punctured his delusions on the spot. According to the information they have, you have been living alone ever since the Moon Orphanage was destroyed. Your father, mother, and sister all don't exist. They are just figments of your imagination. Not only them. Even the old building you live in. You live there alone. After Jing Chen finished speaking, he was already ready to act. If he finds out the truth and loses control, then there will be no reason to keep him this time. But unexpectedly, Xian was surprisingly calm. I have long discovered that others cannot see them. Speaking of which, Xian suddenly laughed. He can not only see them, but also have meals and chat with them for 3 days. Can such a family that appears to protect me in times of danger be said not to exist? Urgent request coming from the earpiece, Madam Chen. The armament equipment is ready. Please make the final assessment. She did not respond there, but she wanted to ask Xian the last sentence. If all your power comes from your family, can you guarantee that they will not influence you? Xian slowly responded. Actually, you don't need to worry. My family members are all very good people. My younger sister is a lovely child. She likes toys and enjoys running around and playing. My father enjoys cooking. He is honest and always stays in the kitchen. My mother is very gentle. She never argues with anyone and only likes to reason with people. They won't casually control my body. After listening, Jing Chen feels extremely complex in his heart. This person is too normal. He is actually describing several completely non-existent people in a very serious and normal state. Xian, walking on the street, sighed. Although Jing Chen's last look seemed a bit distrustful, making money is all that matters. Everything else is not important. At this moment, Jing Chen drove up to him. The decision was made to recruit Xian, but only on a temporary basis. Conversion to permanent status will be contingent on observation and assessment. Present a document to Xian and ask them to sign it if they agree. Seeing a monthly salary of 5,000 yuan during the probation period, Xian immediately agreed, thinking it was a good deal. Jing Chen explained some job responsibilities and hoped that Xian would be well prepared.